Just as I was silently watching the battle to come, someone spoke to me from behind. Bel Cranel. Ah, Mr. Lover, Mr. Dormal. Turning around, I saw a group of people I had seen running towards me. It's Mr. Luvis from the Modi family, and Mr. Dormal of the Magni family. Are you willing to fight together? Of course. This life should have been taken with my right hand, and you saved me. If you don't return this big favor now, when will it be? With a quiver from Mr. Archluvis lightly touched his right arm. The one wrapped in the battle suit and gloves must be the same silver prosthetic hand as Ms. Naza. Mr. Luvis, who had once lost an arm, had an elf's clean smile on his face. It's time to fulfill the oath. Let's fight together. I swear on behalf of Luvis Lilix that such a great favor will be returned in the future. I remembered what Mr. Luvis told me in Rivera after defeating the improved species. Behind him, Mrs. Lana and the others who stood firmly on the ground with prosthetic feet also flashed the same smile. What an ally of the elf! If you say so, then comrade in arms of the Hestia family. It's our brother, cried Mr. Dormal, interrupting. He paid no attention to Mr. Luvis and hit his thick chest with his fist. We haven't forgotten what happened at that moment. Although the other part is terrible, but, for you, we will fight until the end, brother. Seeing Doyle smiling familiarly with his companion Mr. Moo, I sounded a little choked up. The two of them had an awkward encounter because of Ina-san and me, and then they helped each other in the dungeon, and now they're going to fight side by side like this. It would be nice if it could just be attributed to a wonderful fate. But the fact that the first date keeps coming back and that Mr. Luvis helps like this makes my chest warm, and I am grateful for this encounter from the bottom of my heart. Okay. I'm very impressed. Hey. Don't forget we're coming too, Fast Rabbit's Foot. Mr. Luvis and Mrs. Naza were surprised. I coughed and looked up quickly, only to see the smirk of a senior adventurer in front of me. Mr. Mord. And everyone is here too. Have fun at the casino. Even then, Mr. Mord was still the same as ever, and I smiled wryly as he hugged my neck. A step away, Mr. Guile and Mr. Scott shook their heads. Ow. What does that mean? You seem to be ready too. Mr. Mord released his arms and looked down at my body. The armor is the 6th generation rabbit armor made by Wealth, as well as a new unscented battle suit. Weapons are the usual dagger of the goddess and the white ghost. The Goliath scarf is wrapped around the neck. There are 3 dual attribute recovery medicines inserted into the leg sleeves, and a treasure developed by Ms. Naza, the panacea. I looked back at the armor I had donned before surveying the battlefield and nodded in response. Let's win, Rabbit's Foot. Yes. Seeing the smile of Mr. Mord, who is not a rogue but an adventurer, I replied with a smile. Gather all gods and family members. Let's share information one last time. Just as we, who belong to different factions, united as one, the voice of the goddess Hestia rang out from the depths of the camp. I waved at each other with Ms. Naza and Mr. Mord, and approached. There are only 2 hours left before the start of the battle. We are just waiting for the Ganesha family judge's order to enter the last break before entering the battlefield. In front of the tent in the middle of the camp, everyone is looking at Lord Hestia, the gods and our leader are in front, Wealth, Aisha and the others are behind, many adventurers and blacksmiths, and Haruheim have formed a semicircle. First of all gods, take a flower placed here. Make sure to place it in front of the chest and don't hide it. This is the instruction of the Ganesha family. All the gods followed the words of the goddess Hestia, one by one of the flowers placed on the table. Lord Takemikazuchi picked up the purple chrysanthemum. Lord Mayak took the coleus with leaves and flowers. Lord Hephaestus picked up the pale red iris. Crying and screaming ended, dryly laughing the male gods. The goddesses who hate the goddess of beauty put flowers on their chests with different expressions. The detailed rules were decided at the meeting of the gods, and the gods must already know. If this flower of any god is taken by the opponent, it is considered as the defeat of that god. Please don't forget it. That means, even if the gods are discovered, they don't end immediately. As long as there are flowers in their hands, can they continue the game? That's right, Mr. Mord. The goal is just these flowers. However, if the main god's flower is taken away, the family will leave the stage together. So gods, please run to the end or resist to the end. Hestia answered Mr. Mord. There is a major premise, namely that residents of the underworld consider hurting or killing gods taboo. This, grasping the flower, is said to be the rule prepared for this purpose. It is forbidden to directly attack the gods, and if the gods are involved in magic, bombardment, returning the gods by mistake, the family will lose their qualifications immediately. This is to prevent someone from going all out, bombing all the ruins at the start of the battle to force the gods out. And our ultimate goal is to snatch the flower that person is holding. I couldn't confirm one by one in the meeting, so what is the range of resistance? Can I fight back? Can't release Kamui. Freya's power, charm, is naturally forbidden, but Hephaestus showed a very delicate expression, and the back of Lord Hestia's head was also dripping with a lot of sweat. The things the gods are in charge of. For Mr. Takemikazuchi, it is indeed an extension of resistance, or I don't know to what extent it should be prohibited. In short, it seems a very delicate border. By the way, if the opponent is Freya's children, what can you do? Adventurers who don't surpass the second level can take down 20 people, and if they're from the first level, 1. Can you fight on the front lines for me? Master Takemikazuchi answered Lord Hestia's question as usual. Temperamental male god, the adult said bitterly as if they saw something disgusting that they couldn't understand. Our faces were all contorting as Mr. Uka and Mrs. Mikoto proudly puffed out her chest. Forget it, let's assume you can resist within the range that isn't considered a fault. As for the most important arrangement, that is, where the gods will hide. At this time, Hestia-sama, who had regained her strength, looked back. There was the figure of a commander-general. She was standing on the wooden box, looking at the parchment spread out on the large table. The center of the factional alliance is Hestia Familia. So, the leader or person in charge must also be Hestia-sama's family. With him already at level 5 when she became commander, there were definitely not few objections. But now, finally, no one has any objections. Just like the hero of the clan, she showed a peaceful face like a calm lake, looking at the unfolded map of the ruins. Before I arrived at this camp, Lili was surveying the battlefield, making plans. Establishing the formation is left to the goddess to decide. I don't know if she finally collected her thoughts or succumbed to the time limit that arrived. Lili was no longer confused. She lifted her head and got a lot of stares looking at her. If Lili organizes herself, the opponent will see through the formation of her own focus. The opponent will definitely see where the gods are hiding. Therefore, Lili wants to separate her intentions from the hidden places of the gods. Oh, I understand. Support Kuan. No one felt that she had given up her duties so quickly. Lili calmly discerns the enemy's abilities, and even the omniscient gods intend to use them. The little Paolum girl was standing beside the beckoning Lord Hestia, and at this moment she heard only a whisper. An unknown male god happily whistled. Guys, there is one thing to explain in advance. The enemy commander is very smart. Much smarter than Lili. If we prepare 10 strategies, 9 of them will be defeated by him, and the last one will also be defeated. Let's use it and transform him into a trap to plot against us. The words that Lili said, looking at the adventurers, were definitely not exaggerated. The enemy's commander-in-chief is probably White Demon. The white elf who is training me is also my master, Hayden Selland. I especially know how sensible he is, how reasonable he is, and how ruthless he is. It goes without saying that there are tough warriors. Although we are gathering strong people now, if we clash head-on, we will definitely lose. This is Lili, our enemy, Freya Familia. Lilaruka. To be honest, if it weren't for this situation, Lili would really want to run away. Seeing Lili revealing her judgment, sincerity and even her weak side, Mississippi Daphne muttered worriedly. Lili lowered her head for a moment with a delusional expression. But, Lili wants to win. Yet. When she lifted her head again, there was an intense breathless light in her waking eyes. I want to hit Freya-sama who committed the unforgivable thing. More importantly, Lili doesn't want to be separated from Belle-sama. Lili will never hand over Belle, our important person. A sound of enormous heat pouring out, Miss Mikoto and Miss Haruheim widened their eyes and the corners of Welf's lips curled up. Miss Daphne and Miss Cassandra were surprised, Miss Aisha and Mr. Mord showed brave smiles, Mr. Uka and Miss Chikusa waved in response, Miss Naza, Mr. Luvis and Dormal Mr. narrowed their eyes. Then, surrender your forces, adventurers. Lili will lead you to victory, he said. There is no backing down from this, just to earn the victory oath. In the next moment, the adventurers erupted. People raised their weapons and roars overlapped. Spurred on by a girl, the loud noise that shook the sky made Hestia, who was next to Lili, lean back and nearly fall. Okay. Little Lili is such a good woman. I'm sorry, I laughed at you like a little one before. Next time at the naming convention, the pseudonym will be our Angel of Love Me Little Lover. That's okay.